Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Stephen Lee, your humble, gracious guide on this financial transmission of a buy and hold investor, chronicles of a natural bear, an entrepreneur. I want to welcome everyone into the family room, first-time listeners, founders, guests, future and present. I'd like to also encourage everyone to go on over to our YouTube page, to our Patreon, and share and disseminate this message, as it's important that we facilitate and make part of our daily lives financial education and investment strategy. If you are listening to this transmission for the first time or for the 80th time, I want to let you know that we appreciate whatever time you give to us, whatever feedback you give in supporting this mission. This mission of being a financial independent media for the black and brown investor globally is one that has shown me and taken me to places that I never thought were possible, have conversations and meet people that I never thought was possible. And so the world of investing and the opportunities and doors that is opened for me and my family, I cherish and I want to chronicle in a way that gives an objective, raw, and real perspective on the life, trials and tribulations, successes and lessons of an investor. As always, I encourage everyone also to check out in the descriptions the links with all the products and websites and companies and things that facilitate this movement and allow us to grow as we do this. Today's topic and episode, I want to say are personal for me. Not that all of them aren't, obviously, because I'm talking from a first person perspective, and I'm only giving my real world opinion and experience. This is not something that is a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter type thing, right? This is not the 30 days you're going to get to this point. 1 year you're going to get to this point. It doesn't work like that. Life happens, circumstance happen. And also, your drive is going to change. Your reasoning for being successful is going to change. As those things change, your thought of what success and your overall vision of where you think you're trying to get to is going to change. There's a couple principles and things that I feel are constants that don't change as much, right? Financial integrity, ethics, laws, staying on the right side of things. I think that's pretty much a constant. We all want to make as much money as possible and stay free and out of Uncle Sam and the IRS's negative purview as much as possible. I think that's a common goal for all businesses. I think the nuance and the minutia comes in when we start to personalize and identify what our business is, what we're looking to do, why we started it, what deems success. These are the things that I try to highlight and focus and talk about candidly on this podcast. Because a lot of times, as you know, when we're looking to change our financial habits, when we're looking to gain financial freedom and financial literacy, a lot of times it's marketed in the infomercial, pyramid scheme, Ponzi kind of feel, There's a lot of discernment between information before we can even allow ourselves to soak it in. What does that mean? That means that we spend so much time trying to figure out if something's a scam or if they're telling the truth that we're not really soaking in information. You're gonna reach failure. You're gonna reach disappointment in the investment space because that's the nature of learning things. It's the nature of commerce. There's breakage even in the simplest businesses. There's you have to account for breakage, for shit not going the way it's supposed to go. Legal business and illegal business have that in common. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because there's something that I'm noticing that I see a common thread between my experience in the underbelly, if you will, in the place in this world, right? Because this is a global thing that operates outside of the law or in the gray area or the shadows, right? The underbelly, the streets, whatever you want to call it. That section of society and that financial economy weaves in and out of quote unquote legitimate society on the daily, everywhere. Trust me. That's all I'll say on that. I'm not going to give examples. If you don't believe it, there's other medians and avenues which you could do your research on how street money intersects with legitimate corporate, municipal, and even government money globally. I'm not here to argue that. What I am here to say is that the common thread in that nexus between the underworld and, call it, the corporate world is not just on a boat that's owned by JP Morgan with a few tons of cocaine on it. I say this to say, we hear time and time again of stories of, HSBC being fined hundreds of millions of dollars for willfully and negligently allowing cartels and other organized crime to launder money through their bank. Documented stories. We also know about other institutional partnerships and strategic alliances between the banking industry and the underworld. The part that we never hear about are the names associated with the accounts or the executives that landed the deal, right, on the banking side. We don't hear about them because there's a limit to the amount of money that one can make outside of sports and entertainment once you become famous. Right? Being famous outside of areas where you're paid to entertain is a dangerous thing. Right? The desire to be recognized is natural. We all want to be recognized. I mean, shit, if you're successful, even people who aren't successful want to be recognized. But especially in the investment space where you're taking something that had lesser value yesterday and making it have more value tomorrow. You want to be recognized for those accomplishments. When does it turn from, hey, I'm doing my thing and I'm not going to let anyone downplay my accomplishments, to needing that recognition, needing that attention, right? I feel that because of technology, let's not just label it social media because that's a very hot button thing. Everyone says, oh, social media changes. People have been attention seeking since they were given shout outs on MTV Yo MTV Raps. Okay? When that camera came out and they was going through the dance party, you saw how people perked up. This is way before social media. It's something about being on camera and the lights and all that stuff that make people perk up. Or it makes people shy away. Obviously, there's not everyone reacts the same, but it gets a reaction one way or another, is my point. The same as in business. Success in business will bring the same cloud and air and high, right, that success in the streets will bring. The same things that we watch, the shows, the documentaries, the everything, we all are guilty of watching the top selling storyline of person comes from impoverished circumstances, rough background, figures out a way to capitalize extremely from the poverty and dysfunction from their said environment, uses that intellect, that luck, the opportunity to then make untold amounts of money, more than they thought was ever possible. And then from there, try to break into the other side of society, i.e. Scarface, Carlito's Way, Paid in Full. I mean, you name it, right? The problem with those stories is that we're celebrating and looking at it from a theatrical perspective, right? The story's told, it's like you're a fly on the wall. Oh my God, we're watching this. This is so cool. I wish I could live some form of it. Guilty of it myself. Same thing with the music. The problem becomes is when you're out there living your life, you realize that that level of attention, that level of scrutiny that comes with this can be detrimental to your overall mission. The best thing that you can do is remember that doing this for glory and recognition is the quickest way to go bankrupt. Because you're going to make decisions that are based upon ego and how it looks to other people. You're not going to value the spreadsheet, the X's and O's, the numbers, the percentages. You're not going to value them as much. You're not going to be able to identify value as quickly because you're worried about the wrong shit, frankly, right? You're worried about how everybody else is going to stack this accomplishment up on their scoreboard, right? Once again, guilty of this too. Leave that for your personal life. If that's where we're going to have to get it out, let's get it out there. Let's not bring that into the business. And that's what I daily, constantly am doing, is I'm trying to sharpen my discernment lens, right? Sharpen my discernment lens where I'm able to understand the difference between when I'm at a place where I'm doing it for the productivity and when I'm doing it for the recognition. Yeah, I said it. I do things for recognition sometimes. Ooh, that macchiato, goddamn. That hit. I do it for the recognition. Regardless of what I say out in public. You know, we all do this. We have what we think is like the press conference, right? We say what we think people want to hear in matters of business, in matters of money, in matters of responsibility. It's like, yeah, this is how I feel. This is what I'm going to do. You know, XYZ, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to da-da-da-da. And then you have what you in your mind know if someone dropped $1 million off at your doorstep, what you would do. We all have that conversation. What you would do if you hit the lottery, whatever your version of that is. If yours includes the loudest, brightest car on your street, if yours includes any other ostentatious outward self-fulfilling ego stroke, if that's on your list, you're not ready for the investor lifestyle. You know, Dame Dash said something as I don't want to say crazy because that's dismissive. When people call me crazy, I don't like it either. As eccentric as Damon Dash is, and I don't think we can argue that the man's eccentric, I'm realizing that he is saying things that are not palatable because the way he's delivering them, but they do have some level of application in today's society. What do I mean? The ownership and the back end access to analytics in today's society is the money. Whoever owns and is able to have that access to consumer data and habits and any form of monetized information has the keys and the potential in their hand to write their own check of success. The question is now mining and cultivating these eyeballs, these data points, these service points, right? How do you put those in a format, in a program that you're able to share globally, right? Whatever that means for your industry. If you're able to take the real world, tangible activities that are happening in your business, package them up in a digital format, and be able to share those with advertisers or other people that would want to access your customer base's information, you have the power. Whatever that means for you. I'll tell you, I just had an interview with a medical professional, Dr. G, shout out Dr. G, and clinical trials, having information, what medications people take, doctor's visits, all these things. Outside corporations will pay for that. Advertisers will pay for that. So if you have let's distill it all the way down, right? Because this is, at the end of the day, this is a straight up podcast. If you have a beauty salon, barbershop, nail salon, laundromat, if you can figure out a way to digitally track your customer base's habits, spending and consumption, you could approach larger companies, corporations, to lease out that data to them. How could a laundromat do that, Stefan? You're just talking silly, right? This is, once again, people think I'm just talking silly. I'm not just talking fucking silly. Okay? There's no such thing as famous dope boys. So most of, if not all of the cutting edge street innovation and anything like that, we'll never know who really created them. Because it's in a space where that recognition, that light, is detrimental not only for your livelihood, it's for your life and for your freedom. Right? But somebody had to create all these systems that we're seeing, right? In that underworld. And they're not going to get a plaque. They're not going to get Employee of the Year. Does that make sense? We need to keep that in mind when we're moving in business. You can completely revolutionize and be successful and change your whole industry and never get recognition for it. Never get a plaque. I think the problem becomes is if you never monetize off of it, you never got paid for it either. That's when people start to feel a certain type of way. Ask Taraji P. That's why she's on TV right now crying about how she didn't get paid for the movies. But guess what? Everybody knows who your face is. But you didn't figure out a way to monetize off of your recognition. Don't trade recognition and the glory and the ego for the money. Don't do it. That's not business. That is not business. That is a lifestyle. That is a choice. That is a viable way to live and to be successful. Shit. No one's saying that these people aren't successful. No one's saying Taraji P is not successful. What I'm saying is she's not a good businesswoman. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying don't blame the industry for your lack of monetary success. Whatever your industry is. How you're extracting value out of your choices in industry are yours and yours alone. If you don't like the pay scale of your job, switch fucking jobs. And don't start with, it's not that easy. I can't this, I can't. Well, then, hey, if it's not that easy and you can't and that, then you like it. It's what you like. Do you understand me? Because human nature is, if you truly don't like something, if something is truly unsustainable, you'll figure out an alternative. Or you'll get to the point where you like your circumstances. You'll figure out a way to cope. We're very adaptable. Not everyone's going to be rich. Not everyone's going to be successful. That's okay. You need to decide what your priority list is when it comes to this. I recognized real quick in business, both streets and legitimate, I realized that the most dangerous and most taxing place that you could put yourself is having to be the face of the product. That is such a taxing place to be. Is where the success of whether the business is going to thrive is based upon whether people like you or not. I'm not that type of person. Anytime I've gotten into a business that directly correlates with how people like my personality or how abrasive I am or how consistent I am in my demeanor, that's a losing business for me. Winning businesses for me are going to be businesses that are going to thrive, succeed, and potentially grow way larger without me being the face. But, everybody's different. Some people, when they, Rick Ross, perfect example. To me, Rick Ross is somebody who, him being the face of your business is a total plus. It is everything. That is why you're getting into business with him, because he is going to embody and embrace and totally make the brand his. And he's going to do it convincingly. Do you hear me? It doesn't matter what Rick Ross is selling. We 100% believe it, sign on to it, whether you like him or not. We believe that's him. There's something to be said about that ability. I just want to make sure that the people who have that ability are having the same ability to monetize off of that. Right? Because I have all types of independent people that listen to this transmission, Black Wall Podcast. I think that a lot of these successful business strategies that we see celebrated and championed and disseminated on larger scale businesses, right? I think that those are, most of the time, are so easily and able to be replicated in our nano businesses, right? I think that searching for your customers' data, wanting to own their data, wanting to mine it and figure out how to package it and sell it or lease it to larger entities is something that most businesses can do in this current environment of 2024. So many vendors, factories, everybody, right? They're looking for the end consumer analytics. You've got a car wash, right? They're looking to see and match up these people that are patronizing your business. What other stores are they visiting on Saturday, right? Because I'm telling you right now, a corporation will pay for this information. What stores are black consumers 40 to 55 making $85,000 to $185,000 a year? What are their common consumer purchases on Saturday, the first and third Saturday of every month? Someone will pay for that information. Someone is paying for that information. Trust me, as I know. There's a reason why your search engine, the things you talk about, these things are populated into your algorithm. They're following up those things with the data points of your debit card, credit card purchases. How many times does it take an advertiser to show you something before you actually make your way into the store and purchase it? And where are you purchasing that? They want to know. They want to know because that's where they're directly pushing the advertising dollars. I think that we really do need to take a step back and understand how are we digitizing and, I guess, blank facing our business, right? Not black facing, not white facing. All those things are cool. We can be a black owned business. We can celebrate and market to our people. We can have that be in the forefront. But there does need to be a place in your business where when you digitize, your outward projection of your company is different than your inward intake process. When I mean inward intake process, because that's kind of a double, because inward would mean intake. So just say your intake process. Your intake process for these data points needs to be something that you are able to give to a team or directly send out to somebody else's corporate team where they can disseminate that information. That doesn't need to be a cultural exchange, right? You're approaching them saying, hey, this is my demographic group. This is my zip code. This is, our customer base. This is what their annual salaries and incomes look like around here. Are you interested in this information? We have 100,000 people come through these doors every year, right? Whether you be a restaurant, whether you be a hair salon, garbage disposal business, lawn care, car wash, as I mentioned, any of these things, if you're able to collect and mine those data points, then you're able to go out and talk to somebody and monetize that traffic. Just because someone comes in, and especially in today's society, you got to think of it this way. Someone comes in and patronizes your business, you have the opportunity to make money off of them after they pay you through their data points, right? You have the opportunity, whether something as simple as getting their email. People buy email lists. Do you understand? Even if you're making sense, like let's say your goal is to say, okay, I'm going to make 10 cents off of every customer that leaves my establishment, every paying customer, right? That's a meager goal, but to say that you're going to make money off of someone that already supported your business, but you're going to figure out how to retain that energy, that data, that potential, that revenue. You're going to figure out a way to mine that, trap that, harness that, package it up with the rest of the people. And extract value again. That wasn't possible before, guys. You couldn't do that before. Now introducing technology, now introducing things. You don't need to be, hey, I'm such and such. This is my stuff. Hey, buy my stuff. No. You can create a service. You can create an environment. You can create an event space out of a fucking warehouse. No one knows who owns it. Have all the decor, boop, boop, boop. Have a manager run it. Have somebody, interior decorator. All these. I don't even want to say employees because they're more than employees. They're like your team. You build this whole team around this thing. You have nothing, no visible attachment to it. And you're constantly mining these data points of the brides, of the baby showers, the this, the that. You're mining these data points. Even something that's local is mining these data points and then going to other businesses in your community and saying, hey, you're starting your business or we're coming to this point and you're trying to launch this new product. I've got 100,000 emails from people locally that have supported the business in our shopping district. I've collected them for 5 years. I'll sell them to you. I'll lease them to you. I'll whatever. Right? But that comes from you understanding that there's a value and there's a premium in retaining these customer relationships, these customer data points. It's not just this person came in, bought this, item, walked out, fair exchange, no robbery. We weren't good at that at the food truck. And it was being told to me at the time, but once again, this is 10 years ago. I'm not really understanding the digital retention possibilities. I'm thinking, I'm a chef. People need to like my food. I'm looking for the glory. I'm looking for the recognition. I'm thinking that's what's going to make people like me, like my food. Truth be told, no one bought a grilled cheese on a toasted cheese truck for the fact that I had cooked for the Oscars. No one gave a flying fuck. No one cared about any of my cooking accolades or accomplishments when they were waiting in line for that grilled cheese. Could care less. They cared about the crispiness and saltiness of the fries way more than my culinary career. I had to learn that. Yeah, y'all heard me take that sip. I told you I'm not doing this whole perfect. I cut out me sipping my macchiato. Y'all, I mean, what do you mean? I'm talking for an hour, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Of course I'm gonna sip something to drink. Like that's ridiculous. No one said anything to me about it. It's just a personal thing. I saw another podcast where they were getting on the guy because he was drinking on the mic. It's like, man, get over yourself. This is not the Oprah show. Fucking stop it. Anyways, shout out to Oprah. But I do want to make sure that we're separating those things, and that's hard in business. It's hard. I mean, I was a chef, dedicated my whole life as far as cooking. I never had another job, daytime or anything like that. And so to me, that was such a premium. All the different restaurants I cooked, the different places, yada yada yada. No one cared. They didn't. Not one person ever asked me, hey man, where'd you cook before here? Now they'll do that when you're a chef in a restaurant. They'll ask you where you cooked before, but I'm not seeing the back end checks of that. The owner of the establishment is. Do you see what I'm talking about? Not one like recognition and glory. In the kitchen, right? As the chef, I was getting all the recognition and glory I could. Man, my ego was overflowing. Jesus, you couldn't give me more. I didn't need more, and you couldn't give me more. It was a straight mainline ego trip hit every day in the kitchen. I'm still detoxing from all the ego boost and just everything from the kitchen. I'm still a year out detoxing. It was that much ego IV. It was the ego IV. That's what it was. It was the ego IV. And that ego IV keeps you to the point where you're not understanding that direct correlation between your desire for the recognition and the glory and your need for it, your crave for it, you're like a crack addict for it, is directly impacting your ability to assess value of a situation. Yeah. I've been guilty of it personally and business-wise. Impacting my ability to assess value. That need for that recognition. That's the duality. That's the chef part. I was willing to stand up for 10 hours a day, cook all day long, be hot, be sweaty, be uncomfortable, and make less than pretty much everybody that was coming to eat. Right? Because the higher up I got in the cooking world, yes, they pay you more, but the people that are able to pay you more also make more. Right? So you have to do outside things to stay on pace with them financially. They're never going to pay the chef, the cook, because that's how they look at you as a cook, right? They're never going to pay them as much as they make, because then they're saying to themselves, well, what does that make me as good as a cook? There's always that built-in dynamic. And if you go outside and you start having investments, I've had this problem. And your investments make more money than you get paid at work, or more money than where now your investments and your salary make you eye to eye financially with your employer or your boss. That's a very uncomfortable place for them. And you. Because the way that you approach them, the way that you talk to them is eye to eye. And a lot of times when people own businesses, they own it so that they can feel that I'm your boss and you're my. But if I don't give you that, then you're feeling some type of way. I pay you. Yeah, you pay me for my productivity, my job. You don't pay me for you to feel superior when you're around me. Or maybe you do, and you don't have to pay me anymore because you're not going to feel that way. I respect people, but I don't have reverence of you because of your accolades or your money. I don't expect you to have reverence of me because of my tenacity and my perseverance and my talent. I think you should respect it, but reverence, no. No. Why? Because I'm detoxing from the ego IV. Yeah, I didn't always feel that way. I used to feel very entitled because of how talented I was. Oh, yeah. Oh, I used to feel so entitled. Entitled, spoiled fucking rotten. Even to this day, I'm spoiled. Enough is never enough, even when it's enough. That's something I have to continually tell myself in life. Because I'm constantly wanting more, constantly wanting more. I want the next one. I want the next one. I want more. I want the new one. I want the this. I want the that. I'm serious. It's insatiable need. It's not even an outward competition, right? And that's what I'm realizing. Even now that I'm reeling back, okay, I don't need the glory. I don't need the outward. I'll be silent partner. I'm getting good at that with venture capitalists, right? The private equity and the investing. You're not going to be the star of somebody else's vision. But, hey, I want to make money with you. I want to invest in your idea. I think it's a great company. So you have to learn to play the background. You have to. In this situation, in this space that I've been in for this past year as a full-time investor, have to learn to play the background. In the moment. I'm not talking about after. I'm talking about in the moment. I've actually had to let people talk to me more dismissive this past year than I have when I wasn't independent. When I did have a job, quote unquote, as everyone loves to say, oh, you don't have a job, you don't work. People love to say that to me. And then they try to like switch it up and correct it. Because it's like, well, if I don't have a job, what the fuck am I doing all day? Now, coming from the kitchen, coming from being a chef, no, I don't think I work. But I also don't think most of you motherfuckers work. Because you get to sit down all day. If you go somewhere and have a set time to start with a set time to leave, and you have weekends off and you sit down all day, I don't consider that work. I consider that a job. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that if you're okay with that. Because right now I have a job. I don't work. Let me explain something to you. There's people out there that fucking work. The people that are making your goddamn Dunkin' or your Starbucks in the morning, they work. The people who watch your fucking kids every day, they work. Right? People who pick up our trash, answer the 911 calls, so on and so forth, cook our meals, yada, 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 do our landscaping. Those people work. Everybody that you pay to do something that you don't want to do, don't want to take the time out to learn to do, but it's a necessity for all of us to do, those people work. The rest of us who've got these lofty jobs that are elective things, that if everybody's power shut off and internet shut off, we wouldn't have. Those are jobs, guys. Because if everyone's power went off, the first people we would be looking for are the electricians. They would be working to get our power on. Everybody else, your ass would not be going to work because you have a job. Right? But we'd have the plumbers out. We'd have the HVAC guys out. We'd have the service people out trying to figure this shit out. We'd have the people that work in the restaurants. Oh, best believe their bosses are calling them trying to figure out how do we save this food in the walk-in. You're going to figure out who works real quick. That term essential workers, remember that? It wasn't essential jobs. Essential workers. I digress. I am on a mission to take the ego IV out of my arm. The detox has been tough. It's been real, but I'm dedicated to it. Part of this podcast allows me to hold myself accountable for my actions in my personal life as well as my business life, because I'm able to see when my personal life decisions spill over into productivity, consistency, and overall output in my business. Because I'm having this chronicle, I'm having this weekly conversation, right? I'm putting it out there, I'm putting it down. I'm titling it, I'm describing it. Other people are hearing it. I'm getting feedback from it. Not everyone's going to do a podcast, I'm aware. But an investment journal, an accountability investment journal, not a fucking vision board. Okay? We're not in 8th grade cutting out absolute ads, making a goddamn collage. I'm talking about a real running tab of ideas, accomplishments, the follow-through, the procrastinations, the consistency, the inconsistency, the success, and the failures. Writing it down on whatever your interval is, once a week, right? But that you can consistently track your progress or lack of. If you say you're going to write in this fucking thing once a week and you go and you see the last date you wrote in was 6 weeks ago, you need to tighten up, right or wrong. If you say, hey, I'm working on this, I need to do this, these are my goals for next week. Next week goes by, you checked off none of your list. The next week goes by, you act like you didn't see the list from 2 weeks before. It's right there in paper. Don't put it in your phone, in an app, in a file that you can forget about. That's easy. I'm talking about get a goddamn black and white, composition notebook and write that shit down. Write it down. Monday, January 1st. Fuck it. Call it, right? New Year. Monday, January 1st. This is what I said I'd do. I write my journal every week. Blah, 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 boom. The next date you need to see on there is January 8th, right? That's 7 days later. If the next time you see someone in that journal is June 1st, talking about, yeah, I fell off, but now it's June, 6 months, the last 6 months, I'm going to get it together. Man, what the fuck is going on with you, man? You said once a week, 6 months done passed, you talking about, life in, and you making excuses to yourself in the goddamn financial accountability journal. No. We should have heard them goddamn excuses build up every week for the past 6 months. We should have heard about how you making excuses every week. Hey, I'm just touching base in my journal. I ain't done shit. Because I wanted to go on that cruise. I ain't done shit. I had to get my nails done. I ain't done shit. Man, I seen this bad chick at the motherfucking whoop-de-whoop. I had to get her. Went out for that lunch. Went out for that dinner. That shit was $400. Set me back. But I got it. I got to hit. Write that shit down. Write it down. So you can see where your priorities are in money. You ain't got to tell nobody else. Just see it. Hey, my priorities went to looking good, smelling good, and get my dick wet. Hey, I'm not going to say I haven't had years like that. But don't lie to me and you and everybody else about it. Don't say life was life and no, that sundress was hitting. That's what it was. That's what threw you off this past month. Women, same thing. Whatever y'all equivalent is, he had a nice this, he was nice, he had a conversation, we whoop-de-whoop, he flew me, I got flued out, all that. Yeah. Write it down every week what you was doing so you can go back since 6 months later instead of saying, I'm going to get back on my shit. No, see what you was on. You ain't getting back on nothing. Just see what you was on. Say, hey, I'm going to stop that. You can't get back on what you never started. Don't lie to yourself about your intentions of success. If your intentions of success are to gloat and brag, it'll be short-lived. Not saying you won't get there. It'll be short-lived. It's way harder to keep it than it is to get it. So once you get it, if your goal is to try to outwardly project and prove to people you got it, you're not going to be concentrating on sustaining it. You're going to burn through it. It is what it is. I'm telling you what I know. Remember, there's no such thing as famous dope boys. Short-lived career. If you're going to be famous, be fucking famous. And you'll be lucky if you get rich off of it. Most famous people are not rich. Most rich people are not famous. That's just a fact of the reality of life. So, everything between, call it Oprah money and Elon Musk, Bezos money, you have no clue who those people are. Everything between Floyd Mayweather money and call it Mike Tyson money, you don't know who those people are. You get what I'm saying here? The milestones and people that we are looking at, I want to have money like such and such. Think about the fact that there's 1,000 of that exact same tax bracket and income producing person that you have never heard about. So don't try to be the 1 in 1,000 that you've heard about. Try to be the other 999 that you have not heard about. It's a way less stressful position to be in. Trust me. Stay dangerous.